ISIS. Responsible for love, sexuality, ceremonies, health and healing, immortality. Totemic form. Isis was the daughter of Nut, wife of Osiris, and mother of Horus. She was sometimes called Eset. When Osiris was killed by Set, his body was set adrift in the Nile and Isis began her search for him. When she found him, Set learned of it and stole his body, chopped it into pieces, and threw it into the water again. Isis retrieved her husband and reassembled him. Isis was celebrated at one festival called the Laknatsha, the Festival of Lights, on August 12, to commemorate seeking her spouse in the darkness by torchlight, and her processions resembled those of Bastet. Isis instituted marriage and taught women the domestic arts of corn grinding, flax spinning, and weaving. As mother goddess, she introduced the practice of agriculture. Her early character, as the great enchantress, was reflected in her magic powers and in her knowledge of the arts of medicine, which she and Thoth taught to humanity. Isis was often depicted in art suckling the infant Horus. With the advent of Christianity, many of the chapels of Isis were converted to churches and images of her with the infant Horus became the Virgin Mary holding Jesus. If you plan to do a portrayal of Isis, here are some suggestions. Wear a red costume. Egyptians addressed her as Thou Lady of the Red Apparel. There are many works of art depicting Isis with wings. Isis is frequently depicted, as shown both above and to the right, as having a throne perched on top of her head. Alternatively, Isis is frequently depicted with a headdress that has cow horns surrounding a sun disk. Ancient Egyptians believed that the gods guided and directed the natural forces of the mind and body, and each god or goddess was responsible for protecting a particular part of the human body. Isis was responsible for the liver. Sekhmet. Responsible for fire, heat, war, vengeance, enchantments, mummification, hunting and wild animals, courage. Totemic form. Lioness Sekhmet, known as the Powerful, was portrayed as either a lion or a woman with the head of a lion, often holding an anchor sistrum. She was the wife of Tat and mother of Nefertum. On the battlefield, Sekhmet embodied the strength and bravery of the lion, expressing unbounded delight in the prey that fell to her. As the sun god Ra grew older, he became fearful of his enemies and asked Hathor to help him. She took on the job with a vengeance and turned into Sekhmet, the lioness goddess, and seemed to enjoy the killing. Ra then worried that she would wipe out the entire human race, so he had red dye mixed in ale and spread about the land. Hathor, thinking it was blood, drank it and became so intoxicated that she forgot her assignment and humankind was saved. Pacified by the beer, she resumed her persona as the beautiful Hathor and returned to Ra. Selkut. Responsible for fertility, underworld, family and tribes, insects. Totemic form. Scorpion. Selkut was the wife of Ra. She aided Isis, Nephthys, and Neith in guarding the canopic jars of Osiris. Selkut was also a protector of marriage. In art, Selkut appeared as a woman with a scorpion on her head, as a scorpion with a woman's head, and sometimes as a scorpion holding an ankh. When Apep participated in an attack against the sun god Ra, he was defeated and sent to the underworld. Selkut was given the duty of guarding him. Because Apep was bound with chains, Selkant became known as the goddess who binds the dead with chains. Ojit, responsible for justice, time, heaven and hell. Totemic form, cobra. Sometimes you'll see her name spelled Wajit, Wazit, Ozit, or other ways. Ojit's original home and chief cult center was in the Delta Marshes, as her sister Nekhibut was the motherly protectress of the pharaoh, so Ojit was his aggressive defender. When Isis was hiding in the swamps with her baby Horus, Ojit came to help her protect him. In art, Ojit appeared as a cobra, sometimes winged and crowned, and sometimes as a snake with the face of a woman. She was the Uraeus, cobra-shaped symbol of sovereignty that appeared on the headdresses of the Egyptian pharaohs. She figured prominently in the coronation ceremony and in the underworld, where she endowed justice and truth and destroyed the enemies of the deceased. Ojit was the goddess of the 5th hour of the 5th day of the moon. Wajit, the cobra goddess. Ojit's sister was Nekhibut, and together the two were known as the Nebti. See also the entry for Nekhibut. L.